First story. Had a gut feeling and finally caught after thousands were spent. So my wife, 32F, of almost 6 had brought the idea of sugar babies, additional adventure to our sex and open relationship. I, 25M, have always had an open mind to things like that but never really explored other than porn. At the time barely even had anal or wild sex. So I think I can say I was still innocent in that perspective area. She's the one that taught me where to look for sugar babies, what to say and what to post. I never questioned where she got all this information from or anything because I don't know honestly. A couple weeks after she set up all the profiles for me and everything, I got a message and got a hookup but didn't like it. I told her I didn't want to continue doing that thing because I didn't understand it and I didn't have a good experience. Plus at the time, I was still suffering my depression because we had recently had a child that year. With the depression I also had a very, very low lack of sex drive. I couldn't get turned on, or did I want to be touched. So I turned the role on her. I told her, why don't you go and find a friends with benefits or just hookups? She would say no. How could I do that? I'm not like that. I could never. I would tell that she needed, and I was obviously not giving it to her because I didn't know what was going on with my body. She would just be very persistent on doing it with me even if I didn't want to. There were times where I would cry while she did me because I didn't want to but she needed. It got so bad where she admitted one time that she would treat me horribly so that I couldn't give in to. Well, this kept on for 2 years till I told her I need a break. I can't be here, I need to think things through. Because along with all this not giving her sex, she would accuse me of cheating on her, having someone, or talking to someone else. When all I did was try to work and help with 50-50 at home. When I eventually did get my break, I ended up leaving with my family to Texas for summer break, just 2.5 weeks. In those 2 weeks I found out we are just lacking communication, understanding each other and coming to agreements. Or so I thought. It goods now sadly, but keep ready. While in Texas she would call me constantly and check my location. I didn't mind her doing that, but it was like constant, like I couldn't be out with my family without her saying, where are you at? Who are you with? Or FaceTime me. I would always answer her calls. I would always answer her questions and I would always reassure her. But the times that I was at my family's house ranch, there was hardly service out there. They live on the outskirts of San Antonio in Corpus Christi. My phone was constantly losing service. When it did lose service then came back, I would have a dozen messages of where you at, why is your location off? I would explain myself because everything has an explanation and she wouldn't believe me. I finally had enough of explaining myself that I wasn't doing anything wrong. I wasn't doing things I wouldn't want her to do and I broke it off. I know breaking things off over the phone and miles away is very difficult already, but I just couldn't anymore. When we finally got back to town, we live from Texas about 17 to 18 hours away driving. I got back home, we sat down and talked for hours. We got to an agreement of trying to fix our relationship for our kids. Couple days later we had the best sex ever. I jokingly said, damn, have you been with someone else? You feel different with new positions. We laughed it out and she said, no baby, I've just missed you a couple of weeks of being back home. She was being very suspicious, always asking me for my phone to go through it. I don't know what she was trying to find and I would ask her, what are you looking for? She would tell me you can't be in Texas for 2 weeks and could be hooked up with someone. Once again, I would assure her and tell her that I didn't. So obviously our relationship went back to shit and I left and moved in with my mom, still trying to fix the relationship from a distance now. If you don't believe in God, that's fine. I believe in God. At the time I was praying for answers because he's the one. Well, I got my answered. We had movie night with our kids, and I stayed over. My phone started to act up, and it didn't want to charge or turn on. But she was heading to bed, and told me I'll unlock my phone, and you can just put the movie off my phone. Mind you, I had taken the case off my phone when I was trying to get it to work, so we both have the same phones outside the case. I stayed watching movies with the kids, and she fell asleep in bed, and I was in the living room. When all of a sudden I snapped from Snapchat came incoming around 1 a.m. I picked up the phone thinking it was my phone cause mind you it was out the case, and so was her, and I open it. My heart and stomach drop. Literally I felt I had gotten something pulled out of me. I felt cold and I was shocked. In my hand, I had her phone with a naked old guy picture saying "Good night baby, do you like it?" I quickly closed it in shock, then thought what the hell. So I stayed to go through it. I had never gone through her phone. Her phone was worse than a teenage phone. Full of old man nude pictures. Not just porn from the free websites like it was personal off Snapchat. OnlyFans, random phone numbers, emails, backup emails. I was livid because like I mentioned at the beginning, I was open-minded. I had suggested it and she declined it. But she was hiding all of this because she was buying it, paying for it in person and all. Since the moment she had brought it up, I guess she has started it, and 3.5 years had passed by since then. In those 3 years she has spent thousands. While I was working and paying half of everything, being mindful of not having enough money to treat ourselves while she was spending money like we had it. Of course angry me gave her angry sex. I woke her up after I took a screenshot of everything. I started to talk to her the way she was paying for and giving them a blowjob, doing rough sex like she paid for. When she wasn't living up to the expectations, in the moment I talked to her, I told her, "What are you doing? You're not good enough, you're not doing it how you're supposed to." She stopped and looked at me white as a ghost and said, "Are you okay? What has gotten into you?" I threw her phone at her and said that had got me. She looked down at her phone and knew she had fucked up. I told her, "Yeah, your daddy messaged you. Not only that, but the past 3 fucking years, we were broke. All that was a lie. No wonder my bank balance has not been stable for the longest. How many have you fucked? And raw? Because you paid extra for that, and I have proved." I told her, "It's all in your phone. You thought I would never figure it out. What, you just got too comfortable with me not going through your phone?" I was disgusted and disappointed. I didn't know what to do. I resorted to canceling because she said the reason why she did all that was because I wasn't giving her sex, and that she was not just going to hook up with a random person so she had to pay. When I had been really trying to stretch out 100 that was left of my check for a week every 2 weeks. I stopped talking to her and even seeing her after that. Months later, she found it. She had IUD embedded into uterus and possible cancerous cyst growing around fallopian tubes. Had to get 2 surgeries done for those procedures and everything came out of our pocket. Her gynecologist told me that that's why she want more sex. Small update: she has been trying to fix her mistakes. I call it addiction. For the past year I have maybe forgave her, but I can't let go of the pain that caused me. Second story. She made porn with a guy while we were together. I 35M, and my girlfriend 36F. We were couple for 5 years. We had some issues, but one thing that never happened was either of us being with another person. She recently started OnlyFans, which was hard enough because she didn't tell me beforehand. I worked through it with her. We thought we weren't talking to each other, so she hooked up with 3 guys. When we were back together, she said it was only because she thought I ghosted her. In fact, I thought she ghosted me, and that there would be no more guys. 3 days later, I see a picture of her having sex with a porn guy on her Twitter. It was the worst thing I ever saw. Until that point I thought we could get through anything together. But I had kept asking if there was anything going on with him. She kept saying he was just for drugs. I even said we could be just friends. It was constant promises that I'm the only one for her. When I confronted her, she broke down crying and shaking. She of course promised that she would never see him again. I knew it was just another lie, but I felt bad and agreed to keep talking and hanging out, because she said she didn't want to lose me from her life. She hasn't stopped posting stuff with him all the time. It's so stupid. I'm not looking at that anymore. But I can't understand such cruel lies. I wanted to break up, was made to feel bad. Now she's not talking to me like I did something wrong. Part of me wonders if it's because he told her to. He gives me the ick. Not that it matters, she's making her own life choices and becoming a porn star is more important, so have at it. I'm doing much better today. I guess I just have a lot of lingering thoughts on my mind that I wish I had said instead of feeling bad at her crying. I'm not going to bother with her, so I'm trying to get it all out here on Reddit. I've had some great support and advice. I guess the biggest hurt for me is thinking about how much she wanted to be with me. Back then, she hadn't transitioned and was the most shy person ever. She tried to kill herself because she couldn't talk to me. When she told me that, I thought, I will do anything to make our relationship work. And then I think, you wanted someone that bad and that's what you do to them? I don't know, I guess she doesn't need me anymore. I was the first person who was ever nice to her, is what she told me. I don't know, I guess she wasn't really her true self until transitioning, and this is who she is. I miss the person I fell in love with. So kind and caring, but now is only about getting attention from men. I get it, I'm a girl, I can't fuck her like that, but she always said that didn't matter, because I was the most important person in the world, her forever human. I wonder if she really loved me, or if I was just being used until she didn't need me anymore. I will have a hard time with the not looking back part, but I just have to know that it's a process and won't come instantly. I'm definitely not looking at her stuff though. I know, I came so close to ending it with the OnlyFans thing, but I didn't think they were going to end up involving other people in it. I should have listened to my better judgment, but I kept holding to stupidly small pieces of hope. I am starting to see the reality now. She wants to make porn, be with lots of men, now that she is a girl. Definitely not someone I can be with, not if they can't even communicate about it. She's not ready for a relationship, or has moved on from wanting that. Luckily, we don't have any attachment to each other anymore, so I can move on and not think about any of that. We lived together 2 years ago. One day she took her stuff and went back home while I was at work. Good thing is, at least I didn't get too committed like that ever again. But yet it's crazy how much they've done to me that I forgave. I got what I needed before I confronted her. It was hard pretending I was okay, but I got pictures of all my cats before I started ending things. I do think I'm grieving the old days and realizing it never could have gone back to that. Pictures from early on make me the saddest, but I do think she was pretending to be who she thought I wanted. This is the first time things have ended on my terms. I hope that will stop her from wanting or finding a way to contact me. The other times she would stop talking to me, and I would wonder when she would reach out again. But now it's me that doesn't want to be together. It wasn't for the drugs, that was just a cover. She wants to be big on Twitter and OnlyFans, and this guy promised all his followers will go to her if she does it. I feel like she was taken advantage of, but I don't know for sure, and she still chose to hide it and continue it. On another hand, I did think she was maybe narcissistic. She was always talking about how hot she is, which I do get because now she has a girl body, but still, I used to at least get some compliments. Narcissism can be really toxic because it's a trait we all have but is toxic at high levels. It's like a spectrum where some are low and some high on expressing the trait. If it's a pathological level of narcissism, you will be hurt. There is no way to avoid that because she won't change. The trait is kind of ingrained. I kept holding on to hope that things would get better, that when she was good, she would always be that way. I want to be mad at myself for giving too many chances, but I think I would have had regrets if I didn't know for sure. I'm starting to move on. Luckily, as 2 women, there was no risk of kids, so there's no attachment to her. Sorry, I'm saying no to everything. And taking a break for a while for sure. Time to reflect and heal. I will. It is sad because I tried so hard for so long, and there was a lot of good things. But if she wants to do porn, she has to tell her partner. When I was trying to break it off, I did tell her, don't do that to the next person you get with. People need to know before. Third story. My girlfriend lied to me about her relationship. There was a girl who I met during IELTS class. We got pretty close together, then after some time I started liking her. I thought that we had a mutual thing. We hung up together and started getting physical intimate too. But when I asked her about her past relationships, she said she only had one relationship a while back and she is scared to jump a new one. I respected her wishes but still kept talking to her and told her I really loved her one day. She told me she wasn't ready for very long, but still I waited, and still she and I talked like usual, but this wasn't all platonic, we were having sex too. After a while she opened up and told me she loved me too, then we started dating. She had a lot of guy friends and I felt kinda anxious that she was lying to me sometimes. This August 1st, I brought her a small gift, some flowers and handwritten notes saying let's make it an official start of our relation today. Then she said yes. And I was really happy. The same night, we usually talk till 10 p.m. before going to bed. The same night she talked to other guy till 11:30 p.m. after saying she was sleepy and wanted to go to bed. She did this. I didn't have any idea I had exam tomorrow. After coming from exam, I jokingly said I wanted to check her phone. Then she kind of was disagreeing about it. Then afterwards she gave me her phone. I was devastated cause after she said she was sleeping, then she talked to other guy and texts were also flirtatious. But she did mention him, she had a boyfriend. Then I started having trust issue on her. She said trust me one more time, begged me. Then I followed and said okay. Then everything was going fine till 2 weeks. Then suddenly her work closed, which was near my house area. I used to drive her off every day to her house after I finished my work. But that day it was kinda late because of her work being closed off. She called me at 8 o'clock. And I drove her home. Then I came home and talked to her on video chat like usual. Then again I asked her to show me her message. Then she screen shared and showed me. I literally saw a guy at her message, but she instantly closed her screen share. And I told her who was that guy. Then she was like, what guy? No, you wrong, saw it. Then she opened the message. Then the message was deleted. Then I said I did saw it. Don't lie to me. She said no, there wasn't anybody several times, and then afterwards admitted to it. Then I asked why did you lie the instant she said cause I would get mad at her if I saw the text. I was furious and told her PLS tell that guy to screenshot the message and send it to you. Then she did. The recent message wasn't anything, it was a work-related message, but I didn't get the above messages. Then I said okay, if it was just your work-related stuff, why would I get angry at you? I tried talking it off to her. Then she said she was sorry. I said it's okay, but still consulted her saying don't lie to me again please. Then it was already 12 o'clock in the night. Suddenly she was showing me some videos by screen sharing and a text pops out saying, Sakiko Chena, which means not done yet, in Nepali. Then she fast closed her screen share again. I was so angry, my heart was beating faster. I kept screaming at her open the screen share so many times. But she was calm down, I'll do it, calm down, I'll do it. Then cut off the phone call. I messaged that guy saying who is she to you? Then he said she was her girlfriend. I was confused and mad at the same time. I called that dude and tried talking. But he said they were in relationship for almost 4 years now. And I was more devastated. She told she only had one reaction. And also told me the name of that guy, but this was completely a new one. Then he said I got a call, wait, the cut me off. I tried messaging him again, but suddenly he messaged me she was my past. She called me angrily, I didn't understand. Then I called him back, he opened the video call, then again closed it. After 20 seconds I didn't knew what to do. I called her again and again, but she didn't receive my call. She told me let's end it here, I'm done, and started blaming me for not trusting her. Let's call this guy's mystery and head back a little to past. One time she was screen sharing me her photos, and a guy called her on WhatsApp. He was Mr. Y. I asked her who he was. She told me it was her friend's brother's number then, and her friend was asking her for her book for his brother. I said oh okay. She then hung up and said I'll go give this book to him. She was gone for 3 hours, no message, no phone calls. Then I saw a comment in her past post of the Mr. Y with love and sexual emojis. I asked her why did he commented. She said it was different persons with same name then. Moving in present, I knew the guy friend of her who asked her book. I asked him if she is single or not, but he told me she has a boyfriend. Then Jay told him everything what happened and asked him she brother name. He said I did ask a book of her, but my brother name doesn't start from Y. But and then I was devastated again. She lied to me so many times. I don't know what to do. Even though she did this to me, I keep on meeting her. I want to end this sometimes, but then remember how much I love her again. I'm so confused with my feelings. I don't know what to do. I can't sleep well, can't eat well. I talk to her about this thing again and again. But my exams are coming, that's why she keeps on saying me let's talk after your exam. I don't want you to mess it up. If you do, other guilt will occur to me. She said after that we are just being normal like me used to be in a relationship. But I'm really hurt and don't know what to do. The more I talk to her, the more I want her and come back to me even though she did this to me. Please, I really need some opinions and advice to sort my thoughts up. Please help me. Fourth story. Wedding photographer, F, cheated with a groomsman, M. I, 23 M, was a groomsman in a friend's wedding. My friend was 24 M at the time, and his fiancée was 35 F. About a week before the wedding, he and his fiancée had a get-together at their house so the groomsmen and the bridesmaids could meet. They were planning on having a cookout with some beer and wine. Everyone showed up around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and everyone seemed to get along pretty well. Most of the bridesmaids were married, which meant I spent most of the time hanging out with the groomsmen. We sat out on the back deck most of the day just chatting with whoever was around. Around 6 o'clock most of the bridesmaids were set to leave, but the groomsmen had already decided we would just spend the night and continue drinking. His fiancée was also inviting the photographer 44F to come over so that she could take pictures of everyone meeting. She showed up around 3 o'clock and began taking pictures. His fiancée was already friends with the photographer before they hired her, so when the bridesmaids left, she put down her camera and started drinking with the fiancé. The photographer was actually older than his fiancée, I think about 44, and also married. As the night went on we kept drinking but moved inside since it was getting cold out. When we went inside, the photographer had already had a couple glasses of wine, and found herself in a room with 4 24-year-old guys' groom. One was getting married, so she focused most of her attention on 3 of us left. She started by acting flirty and trying to sit on our laps or giving random hugs. My other 2 friends were clearly not really interested and they made it pretty clear to her. I was a little more friendly, because I figured nothing would happen since she was married. But I was wrong. At one point I went out to the garage to grab another beer out of the fridge. She followed me out there and was continuing to act extremely flirty. I kind of just laughed it off until she reached out and used one hand to pull my pants towards her, and the other went down my pants. I was definitely taken off guard but never tried to stop her. That's when she said one of the hottest things I've ever heard. Let me have some fun and remind me what a young cock tastes like. I kind of just smile and laugh a little, and shrug my shoulders saying sure. She got down on her knees and pulled my cock out, stroking it to get it hard before she finally wrapped her lips around it. In the middle of her blowing me, the garage door opens and we hear a woman shriek. It was the fiancé. She wasn't angry, just kind of shocked, and immediately asked her, "What are you doing?" Her friend stopped blowing me, looked over her shoulder, held her finger up to her mouth and shussed her. The fiancé just laughed again and closed the door, but reopened it like a minute later with all of my friends there to see too. They all laughed but shut the door again. That's when the blowjob was no longer a secret, and something inside of her just flipped from wanting to be sneaking to just embracing it. She looked up at me slowing taking my cock out of her mouth and said okay, upstairs. Then tucked my cock back in my pants, took me by the hand towards the upstairs guest room. I laid down on the bed and she got on top of me and rode me until I came inside her. I think she realized what she had done at that point. She immediately gets off of me and gets dressed before saying goodbye with a quick kiss. She ran out of the room and according to everyone downstairs straight out the front door. She still showed up at the wedding to take pictures, but she brought her husband as her date.